Hello, everybody. Welcome to our brown bag lunch. I think it's always worth me talking to people. People are always saying, "What is a brown bag lunch?" And what it is that in business, when you want your executives to get around the table and listen to something, you say, "Bring your brown bag lunch. Just bring your lunch with you. We'll eat lunch at the table and learn something." So that's the whole idea with these brown bag lunches. And today we are so fortunate to have Mauricio Lorca and Maria Cecilia Flores. How did I do with those names? Not bad. Yeah. and and they are here to talk about their new project in Spain, which it happens to be our Spanish offering. So it makes sense that we would talk to you about this. And I know a little bit about this. We usually just do these in 20 minutes so people can then munch on their lunch and listen. And what I can tell you is I've heard this story and it's such a fascinating story. I hope we can get it in 20 minutes. So why don't we just go ahead, Mauricio, and let's talk about how you ended up in Spain. I mean, we all know you make great wine in Argentina. So there you are.
Well, I am always looking for something new to do. Finally, I start to researching about Spain. My family is original from Spain. They came to Argentina many, many years ago when my father was 5 years old. So that means they came to Argentina in the 1950, more or less. So our connection with, or my connection with Spain is so strong. So I was looking for a new region where to make wine, to develop something different compared with Argentina. Of course, Spain is a very famous country, in terms of wine making. And finally, I decided to go to Galicia because it's a little less known, place in terms of winemaking and grapes. Most of the people know the Alvarinho from Rías Baixas in Galicia, but nobody know, or maybe now some people know, the Ribeira Sacra. Ribeira Sacra is a very, very special place. This DO is very, very small. The landscape is totally unusual. There are only few regions around the world that you can find that kind of terrace, hold the grape grow in the ribera of the river, Miño and Sil. Depending on the slope, can be in some places 70%, in some places 30%. So to pick the grape, to manage the vineyard, to do, all the job in the vineyard is so difficult because this is not easy. It's not easy. No, it is impossible to use a machine in this kind of vineyard. The vines are normally very, very old. I can say the average age can be 40, 50, 60 years old. And it's difficult to find, a pure vineyard with only with a single grape. Normally the vineyard have Menthea, for example, when we talk about red, and always there is something else. It's like the producer there, they were looking for, to help the Menthea to have a better quality. So they mix it with another grape like Sauzon, Garnacha Tinta, and other grapes. So normally 85, 90% of the grape is Menthea, but always there is something more.
But I'm going to back you up, Mauricio. Let's talk about your bike trip into Spain.
Oh,
and how you found this place.
Well, I was doing the Compostela route from France to Santiago de Compostela. Is quite famous, and I did in bike. Okay, I was riding my bike with another 3 friends. We were 4, and we arrived in Galicia. The last 100 kilometers were in Galicia, and I fell in love. The place was amazing. The view, the mountains there, the forest, of course, the river and everything I saw was amazing. And of course, when I decided to go to Spain, that was my priority after I saw that place. But you know, Michael, in that time I didn't know that I could make wine, red wine in Galicia, because I knew the Alvarinho only in that time. So after, when I started to research about Galicia, I found the Ribeira Sacra as very unique place and a very unique you know, landscape. And of course, the production is always limited there. So that catch me up, you know, because it was something I say, okay, if I want to do something different, you know, Ribeira Sacra is different. So it's the reason why I just land there, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to do anything too easy.
No, and always, and I was looking for, you know, something really unique, because, you know, everybody knows Rioja, Ribera del Duero, Toro. I don't know, there are so many different DO in Spain, very well known, and to be difficult is one of the is always challenging. You know, I like that, but at the same time, to have something limited and unique was, I think, my goal, my aim. You know, to find something like that.
And talk to us a little bit about the wines. I think I cut you off there because you were starting to talk about the Menthea.
Well, we have, I think, 4 wines, no? The CasaOuteiro Menthea, which is an amazing wine, easy drink, fresh. The color is very, very red with some violet expression. In the nose, you will find a lot of spices, but at the same time, the typical fresh red fruit. And in the mouth, it's very smooth, easy drink. The acidity is fantastic. It's one of the things I found there compared with Mendoza. The natural acidity is very high. And it's a wine that, you know, when I thought in the wine in this style, I was looking for a wine that you can drink young. But it's a wine that at the same time can evolve, you know, because the acidity and the natural pH is fantastic. It has a little touch of oak, which is good. Give to the wine some complexity. I think 10%, 10 to 15% of the wine was aged in barrel, and the 85%, the rest 85% was just the fruit style. I don't know. It's a wine that you can enjoy with so many kind of food. If you are in Galicia, the fish is fantastic and the seafood is much better too. So it's a perfect wine to combine with, to pair, for example, with that kind of food.
That's great. And we've got a question from Paul. How does the soil differ in Galicia, right?
Galicia.
Compared to your vineyards in Mendoza?
Oh, you know, the soil is different. Remember, all the vines are located in a small terrace. You have at least, or in between 2 or 3 rows per terrace. Okay, only that. So what they did in the past, they say the Romans did that. You know, they created a terrace, and it's they were how to say, just working on the hill, you know, constructing the terrace. So the soil normally is you can find let me see how to say this.
Is it the type of soil you're trying to think of?
Granito, yes. Granito, Michael.
Yes. So
yeah.
Granular.
Yes, it's granular.
Yes.
It's very sandy, and you know, it's rich because there is more rain than Mendoza, but at the same time, it's poor because the water go down so fast. Okay, and this terrace, you know, the water go down so fast and run. So that is why the grape can ripe properly, okay, can get a good ripeness, okay. And then you can find different minerals. You know, it's typical because again the terrace were constructed on the hill, okay, and so there are a lot of minerals,
different layers, right, down below.
Different layers, yeah.
Yes, that's
it's
right.
from the river until the top, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you see many of the rest of that, you know, and it's very, very different compared with Mendoza, because in Mendoza we have altitude, you know, but it's flat.
Right. So then you don't get the same gradation, right? That's what you were thinking about, was gradation, so that each of those terraces has a little bit of a different soil composition.
Yeah.
Where in Mendoza it's more consistent, I would bet. Yes.
Yeah, and in Mendoza we can use the tractor, for example, and they are not. In Galicia, no.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
Crazy. And so Renee is asking the question I was thinking, but I didn't want to put you on the spot. And she's asking, Menthea is like what grape? So if you've never had Menthea, what would you think?
Well, Menthea is difficult. It's difficult to compare with another grape because there is only in this region, in Ribeira Sacra and Bierzo in Spain. There is no Menthea in other places. I think in one way is comparable with the Malbec because it's very smooth in the palate. It's very easy to drink. Because this combination of weather, you know, the influence from the Cantabric Sea and the Atlantic Sea and the continent from the peninsula, the acidity is higher, and so it's a wine that can evolve very, very well. Again, it's difficult to compare. Some of the people in Spain say they found some typicity like the like the Syrah in Spain. But for me, because it's very sweet in the mouth, you know, because the tannin are very smooth, I think it has some relationship with the Malbec.
Yeah, and if you don't mind my saying, Renee and Mauricio, is that I've tried this particular grape. I like it very much, and it varies pretty widely, because at one point I felt as though it was kind of had the body of oh, now I've lost it. Not Cab Sauv, but of Merlot. It kind of had the body of Merlot, but it had a lot more depth of flavor, right? It had so many different notes going on, but that has a lot to do with the winemaking as well as just what variety you're using, right? So I can tell you, Renee, you just have to try it because it is completely different and really, really cool. And when you start to get to know these other wines, it's really fun, right? And when you have these in your cellar and somebody comes for dinner and you serve this wine, they say, I've never heard of this grape. And you say, of course you haven't, because I get this at Opimian. Now, I sound like a salesman now, don't I? So, but what I do enjoy is these, you know, you're going to notice a trend at Opimian that we're going toward more indigenous grapes, because, you know, you can get Cab Sauv anywhere you go. But what we find is that these indigenous grapes, they're all being cultivated and coming back, and they just are really, really interesting. So, I mean, not to say that you can't make an interesting Cab Sauv, right? But this is also a very, very interesting grape.
I think, Michael, is a great opportunity for the Opimian members, you know, to try something really, really different. You know, it's a wine that you are not going to find in a shop, in a supermarket, or because just the production is small. It's very, very small, and this wine are going to be available only for Opimian, a couple of people more around the world. That's it, you know, and it's a great opportunity to try, you know, wines that grow in a region where the seafood is the most important food. And I can say, because I tried many times there, you know, the combination of this kind of red wine with the seafood and the fish is fantastic. It's really, really good. And it's always like that, you know, the Malbec combined fantastic with the beef, but the Menthea combined fantastic with the seafood and the fish.
Great. And we don't want to, we've only got a few minutes left, but did want to talk a little bit about the, do you say Godello or Godello?
Godello.
Godello. Godello.
Mhm.
Yes. So the Godello, which is the it's in that mixed case, right? Along
Yeah,
and talk a little bit about that
Trechadura.
because people won't know much about those grape varietals either.
Well, those grapes are typical from the region. I'd never seen before. It's my first time. When I tasted the Godello first time in Galicia, I fell in love with that grape. It's a grape that is very flexible. I can see, you know, it's a wine that you can make a very young, easy drink style wine. At the same time, you can produce a wine for aging, okay, with more complexity. Everything is about management in the vineyard. It's quite productive. And so when you are looking for something good, you have to decrease the yield. We do that by hand, you know. We do some green harvest, we remove some shoots, looking for more concentration. And what you will find in this Godello is going to be a very beautiful wine to drink, a lot of citrus expression. At the same time, in the mouth is a full body wine. And again, the natural acidity is fantastic. For example, in Argentina, we can get, when we get 3.3, 3.4 natural pH, we are so happy. In Galicia, normally we get at the same level of sugar, 3.1, 3.2, 3.2 natural pH, which is beautiful for us, for winemakers that are looking for, you know, those wines that can age very well in long term. This is fantastic. So you will find a beautiful wine to drink. Trechadura is quite new in Ribeira Sacra, but is very famous in Ribeiro, which is another DO, very close of Ribeira Sacra. The expression of that wine is lighter compared with the Godello. It's very easy drink, it's very fresh. And again, it's a wine that you will enjoy a lot, just because the weather condition in Galicia are fantastic, and always the natural pH is very, very low, and the acidity is high, and it's difficult to find places like with that condition in other part of the world. For example, we know New Zealand as a good wine producer. We can say, I don't know, South Africa, they have good wine too. And Galicia, for me, I think is going to be one of that region that everybody will know for the white wines.
Mm-hmm. And you know what we've noticed over the last 2 years, Greg and I have noticed that our members are drinking more white. It used to be upwards of 70% of the wine we sold was red, and that's changing substantially, almost by 10% these days. So that's why we've started adding these whites to the catalog, because it's been consumer demand. The pendulum is coming back again, isn't it? But
yeah, exactly. And well, we are seeing the same, Michael. And I think Galicia and Ribeira Sacra, in this case, is a great opportunity, you know, to taste different grapes. And again, the weather conditions are beautiful for white wine there.
yeah, I had tried to figure out a way to get to see you when I was at Provine, but I just don't have time, I'm afraid. So we'll have to do Spain another day. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. And thank you, everybody, all of our members, for taking the time to have your lunch with us. We certainly appreciate that. And if you have any questions whatsoever, send them to our excellent member service team. You may have noticed that we've started hiring some pretty educated wine lovers as our member service team, so they can answer questions for you that we may not have been able to in the past. We're very, very proud of that. So thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day and have a good evening. I have nothing. I did this so quickly, I don't even have a glass of wine. Have you ever seen that in your life? I do not have a glass of wine in my hand. So I'm going to go get one right now. All right, everybody. Have a good day.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye
bye-bye.
bye. Bye bye.